Alex.
Hi.
Okay, now let's study the multiple graphs.
All right.
It's just basically the same as what we have done before, but now the structure. For paragraph 3 and 4, each paragraph we dedicate for one graph. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's all. But I think we need to do some practice to see. Okay, can you see the screen clearly? Is it big enough?
Yes, yes.
Okay, now at the beginning, we always read and understand the task.
Sure.
Do you think that it looks more intimidating than the other types we have studied before?
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of information, right?
Yes.
No, but actually, I think this one can be easier.
Yeah, I think so.
Then, yeah.
So it's clear that we know how to divide the paragraph 3 and 4.
And because we only dedicate one paragraph for one kind of chart or graph or pie chart here. So we do not need to find a lot of information regarding one graph.
Yeah, all right. I finished reading that.
It's quite easy to understand, right?
Yes.
And I think these kind of data, because of information, it is much more less stressful than when you have to write about money, economics, right? Trading, and also when you encounter the social topics like this. I think most of the time you will say that you have more vocabulary for this than talking about selling, trading, or economy in general. Right. So it's just like we did before, as you read the task, have you been able to come up with some immediate synonym? Or some cool language, that you say you have to write down?
Not yet.
Okay, now so we understand the charts here. The first step after we understand the chart is to come up with some language. Just write out very quickly. This step. I don't think everyone needs to write down before they actually compose the essay. But just first of all, this is our practice, right? And secondly, if you think that you are very quick thinking already and you can generate new words in real time as if you write, you don't have to write down a list first. But let's just do it together.
Yeah, I think I need that.
So it shows the numbers of men and women.
That is easy. But I'm worrying about the word evening courses and the word adult education.
Yes. And although I want to, but I want to remind you that there's a very good phrase we can use, and we can use female or male counterparts.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. You see, there are things that we must try to include in our essay. Participate, take part in. When you use enroll, you have to have the preposition in. We say enroll in the course.
Can I say register?
You know, I'm doubtful about the use of these two words because here it says attending. So these people are present in class. But when you say enroll in or register, their name may be on the list, but they may not be in the class. However, I think the test indicates quite clearly by using the word attend. These people join the class, go to the class.
So to join.
Yes.
This time. For evening courses.
Evening courses. Yeah.
I can think about class.
Class. You can use program, study programs. You can use that. And actually, you don't have to try too hard to replace the word evening. They use evening as an adjective here, so you can say in the evening in your essay.
What about night classes?
Evening is different from night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yes. That's why we say good evening, good night is different. You know, there's a term that can express similar meaning to evening classes. You can say extra classes. You know, but in the end, I think we should use the word in the evening. You can say extra adult classes in the evening.
Adult Education Center.
And now I want you to remember this phrase every time you see education center or center in general. You can always replace the word center with the word facility. Facility.
Like education facility?
Yes. You know, but you may think about the word training, education center, training center. Actually, there's a difference between the words education and training. But I think we can use education facility, and then if you want to use the word train, you use it as a verb. But don't use it training facility because there's a difference.
Yeah.
The age. Okay, now we have the phrase course participant. I think we have all the alternatives for participants.
Attendee.
Attendees, yes. Course attendees is a perfect phrase.
Let's get that word attendee only.
Yeah. How about course taker? We use the verb take, of course, so you can use course taker. Let me check if it's goes soon. Okay, you do not need to have a hyphen or something. Just write two separate words.
Yep.
Or you can choose to use the verb phrase. Like you say, 40 men took this course. It's a good collocation, right?
Yes. So I should here take the course, take part in the course.
Yeah. And how about the ages here? Normally, yeah. When you describe age, how would you structure your sentence?
I would say the people at the age or the people aged. Like
yeah, yes. But now we have a range of age. So you can say people within the 20-29 range. You can use the word range.
people
Within.
within the range of
Okay, so you can say within the range of 20. You can copy the numbers, the way they write the numbers here. Within the range of 20, 29.
Can I write it like this, the hyphen?
Yes, you can use the hyphen. Don't worry about that because this is a report. Right? You can use the way they use the numbers. Or you can always say, use more words. You can always say within the range of 20 to 29 years old. That's easy. Right?
Yes.
And I also want you to remember this word every time you look at the range of age. You use the phrase age bracket. Age bracket.
Age bracket.
Yes. Okay, I think you should separate this.
Never seen that.
This is the range. The range is the same as the bracket.
Let me check that.
Yes.
Bracket. Something that within a particular range. We have the 30 to 34 age brackets for the price bracket. So it is the 30 to 39 age bracket.
Yes, I think this is very useful because every time we have a range of something, like the price range, the age range.
Right.
Yeah. So that is the bracket also. And I think this word is not used in the common communicative context. People do not use this. Yeah. This word is exclusively for reporting for the reports only. And now we have the basic vocabulary. Let's look at the introduction. I think we can move on to the introduction. So again, you have to include the most important information.
Yes. Normally, with this style, I would write the introduction in 2 sentences.
Yes. Can you tell me more?
Very similar to the question. Like the bar chart shows something, and the pie chart shows something.
Yes. And you use the word while?
Yes, sometimes I use while, sometimes I just set a period and then new text messages.
Yeah, both are fine. I normally use the word while.
So let's do it right now. Should we have 3 sentences? Like the first one is about the diagram, show something. Show this while the pie chart show this. Or just two sentences is fine.
Normally you have only now you have two main graphs, so you have two sentences maximum.
So you don't need one sentence for like some general idea, like the diagrams below show information about like courses of an adult education center. Period. The pie chart shows something, or the pie chart shows something.
No. I rarely see anyone using that way. Just write two sentences.
Correct.
Mm. I'm reading your introduction. But you are hesitating to add something more.
Reading the
The first thing you should check is whether you have included all the important information. I think you should have a quick look every time you finish a paragraph. A quick look, then you can review it more carefully later. Is there any problem with the internet connection from your side? I could not hear your last sentence.
Here, I don't say anything.
You know, did you hear me?
I don't say anything. Yes,
Uh,
I hear you very clearly.
okay, so did you hear my question?
What did you say?
Actually,
You asked me to take a quick look in the.
yes, and then I asked you about the internet connection because there is a problem. Is it?
Yes, no, my problem. You see very clearly, and I feel I can hear you very clearly. Do you have any problem with the internet in your place?
Okay, because I can hear you, but the sounds get interrupted, so I cannot hear the full sentence. I can only hear words afterwards.
Even now, even now.
Now it's better.
Because I hear you very clearly and I see things very clearly too.
Okay, so maybe the internet connection from my side. So the given bar chart compare the number of people in both sexes taking part in 4 evening classes. What the comparison in terms of the age is shown in the pie chart with 5 different groups. How about the year, right? How about the year? If you do not know which year is this, you have to.
Oh, I forgot one important thing, like in an occupation center in the year 2009.
There was some problem with the sound because it's hard for me to hear your whole sentence. So I'm trying.
Really?
Yes, but I could hear the word really. Maybe like every time you speak, there's something wrong with the connection.
All right, so I'll try to speak slowly.
So the given bar chart compares number of people in both sexes taking part in 4 evening classes at an education facility in 2009. Actually, you do not need with 5 different groups. I think just.
Is it clear or not?
Even though like without looking at looking at this graph, and when I read the sentence, why the comparison in terms of the age is shown in the pie chart with 5 different groups. This piece of information is quite difficult to understand because I do not know which group is that. And sometimes there is some information that makes your sentence quite long, right? So it should be in the acceptable length. Do not be too long, even though the information is not wrong.
I'm thinking the first part of the sentence, the bar chart compares. Is that okay for the grammar?
Of course, you can say the bar chart compares. There's nothing wrong with the grammar.
So do I need anything in terms of no, right?
Actually, it's the numbers. You see the task here? Very, very minor mistake. But
Oh, yeah.
it's a lot of numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Compare the numbers of people in both sexes taking part in 4 evening classes and an education facility in 2009. Now everything is fine because now you have omitted the last part, so your sentence look more concise. It just sounds better. So how about the overview? How do you write your overview for these two graphs?
Um, I still thinking like I should do it in normal way. I'll find each chart one remarkable feature.
Yes. And then the other sentence.
In my opinion, I mean like just one point for each chart and that's it. Nothing more.
Yes, so in the end we have two sentences, right? So one for each.
The one, yeah, one sentence is for the bar, and one sentence for the bar, one sentence for the pie, and that's it.
Yes, and
So
yeah, that is the correct approach. What if in the future you have four or you have three? Let's say you have three different kinds of graphs or chart here. For example,
yeah,
the first one, and then you have this, and then you have another line graph. What do you do?
yeah, that's what I thought in the first place, and I think try and make it two sentences, but there's some
Yes,
relevance connection between the charts.
yes. Normally, if they give you at least three graphs, different graphs, uh, there are two graphs that have connection with each other, and you can actually include them in one overview sentence and in one major body paragraph. So it pretty much depends on the task that they give you.
Mm.
And when you see no correlation, you can write the overview three sentences, and the body here. Actually, there's no limit for the body paragraph you can write. The four paragraph structure is recommended because it's quite standard. That's how a lot of people use it, and actually it has a very high band score. But you can totally use another paragraph if if the task gives you three different charts or graphs. It's only
But
logical. Yeah.
three paragraph.
Mm. As long as you do not take up all the time, and as long as it's your piece here, you do not go like over 200 words or something like that. Do not write something too long.
Yes.
But not normally, no, rarely do you have to separate it into another paragraph. Normally, you can find a correlation.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the overview.
Right now I'm seeing, I think, one in the bar chart, and then see the number of women are almost higher than men.
Almost higher.
Structure. No, I'm sorry. Always higher than men, except for structure.
Yeah, right.
For the pie, I can see one thing is the group 50 or over made up the biggest proportion of the pie.
Yeah, the biggest proportion. Mm. And so I think we can formulate our sentence. It's easy for us to do it now.
Yep.
There are some problems with the sounds again. So I'm sorry if I cut in because I don't know if you have finished the sentence or not.
No, I don't finish. Yeah, I do finish my sentence. I think maybe in your side could be delayed a little bit. Because after I speak, I feel like you are quiet for a while before you start to speak.
Okay. So the speed does not match each other.
I see. Alright, so as for the overview,
Remember the year is in 2009.
yes. Okay, I think I do.
I see that you're writing an outline.
No, I think I should do it right away.
You know, for little ideas like in the overview, something that we can remember when memorize. I don't think we should waste time writing the outline for the overview. I normally don't because we can remember that.
Yeah, I realize that too.
Mm. Uh, Now, I think we should discuss first the various structures that you can use in your sentence. Because I can say that we have a tendency to think in only one structure. We always say the number. That is our tendency. So let's just think about some other ways to express the ideas first. And this one you can see in the material I gave you, right? This one here.
Yeah, I got that.
So the first one we have the subject and the verb. For example, the subject is average wage, and we have the verb, and then we have the adverb. Average wage increased steadily. Can we use this in our essay here? What could the subject be?
Let me see.
This is a good practice. It's fun. It's fun. It's good.
So the number of women.
Should you say the number?
Yeah, the numbers of women.
You can say the number of women of fail. Can you say fail? Phone.
Fail what? I cannot think of any structure
Yeah.
with fail.
You know, because this is a major difference in the trend. Here, we do not have the normal timeline. You know, for timeline, you can say the number of women increase or decrease.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, here you can. I believe that we can use the word increase or decrease. Yeah, because it makes sense here. You say in drama, okay, maybe in painting, there were 30 women, but in sculpture, the number fell to only 5, right? So you can still use decrease or increase here, but there are some cases you cannot use such a language because there's a difference. There's no timeline.
So I can also say, like, for example, in sculpture, the number of women was like 5, for example. Then this number increased in language.
Yes, yes, because you have the same subject, the number of women. So you can use the verb increase or decrease.
Nice. Interesting.
And the ultimate structure that we can use in every situation. You can always say there is, there are, there was, right?
Yeah. So like I can say there are always more female participants than male counterparts, except for like right now.
Yeah. So now you have a little better idea of the structures that you can use. Or I can just simply report, but like there are 40 women in language classes. I can report it in that way. I think number 5 and number 6 are particularly useful for our essay. You
Number
use the
5, yeah.
data, yeah.
Yes.
So let's think about that. And also we can say as little as much as, or as many as few as. Particularly the phrase as few as. I think I can use the phrase as few as for sculpture. Yeah, because I can say that 30 women in painting, but as few as 5 women in sculpture. That is a comparison language. Mm. I think normally people say their male counterpart. Their male counterpart.
I'm thinking of using the passive voice here. Like the biggest part was made of or was made up by.
What is the subject? The subject is the pie chart. The biggest share.
Was
That's, you can go in that direction as long as you use the correct grammar. Make sure everything you write down is correct. The is okay. Overall, there were always more female participants than their male counterpart in evening classes except for sculpture. Okay, I says the sentence is very good now. Besides, the biggest share was made up by the oldest group. I think we lack something in the biggest share. The biggest share of what, right? Besides, um, besides, the biggest share of the attendees was made up by the oldest group. Mm. Okay, I checked the grammar. Everything is fine here, but let's look at the um, let's look at these two sentences together, right? You know, because when you write your essay, you have an idea for this complicated structure, right? But it's not always good to write a long sentence. That may take effort. That may take reading effort from the examiner. You know, there are kinds of complex sentences that people can read through very quickly and can understand it as easily as the simple sentences. But you know, there's sometimes there are contexts in which we should not use the too complex sentence. And I'm not suggesting that this is too complex, you know, but you should not write too many of these sentences like in your essay, because it will make the whole thing difficult to understand.
I see.
And your attempt here is very good, because you can show the examiner that you know how to rephrase sentence in a complex way, and you know how to use the passive voice here, and you try to diversify your sentence. You can just leave it here, right? This is a perfect overview.
All right. Let's say.
Okay, let's see what we can do with the bar graph here.
I will mention the language firstly, because it's the highest. And I can see like the man, double, and next I would mention the drama.
Do not confuse here. We mean double man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fatal mistake. You know, imagine if you mess up the two colors here, so your entire paragraph would not be score. It would be score 0.
Sure.
So I think your task achievement point will be the these two maybe just 5 or you know, with half of the points.
How many ways can we say double?
Twice as many. There were twice as many women in drama class than men. Yeah, the next time you think about double, you think about twice as much, twice as many, and then you have to find a structure to put those phrases in. It's quite difficult.
Because I can see here there are 3 places I can use that, like in language, the women are like with double man language. In drama, same with double man, but in sculpture, man with twice as many than women.
Mm. And I'm thinking about a way to use by half. By half. Is there a way we can try to embed that phrase into our sentence?
What about was half?
Half. Yes, half as many. Wait. No. We use twice as many, twice as much, because when you use as many or as much, you use it with the higher number, twice.
So we cannot say like a half or a half.
I know. I may have seen that example before. Like for example, someone can say, you have 6 houses. I only have half. I only have 3. It's easy. I only have half as many as you. Have you ever seen that?
To be honest, never. But I think it sounds correct to me.
You know the language. There is a lot of confusion. Yeah, no, even in the native community, when you search online, you will see that people say different things. You know, because language is something very diverse, very changeable. So anyway, because of the uncertainty, I think we should stick to the phrase, the ultimate on time right phrase, twice as much or twice as many.
Then I should find another way to express my idea here.
Where are you now?
I'm here.
Yes.
Because I see that it's by contrast and double. But I'm trying to find a way that can describe ideas.
Yes.
They have only structures.
Yes. I was talking about by half. The phrase by half is actually it can be used. It has been used before. So if you want to say by half, your sentence should be like this. By contrast, men surpass the number, not the people. The number of men surpass that of women by half. in that sentence, the phrase by have is the most suitable. If you use a verb here, you use surpass by have. Right.
I never seen this structure before.
It's it's quite. I'm not saying it's common, but actually it has been used. I've seen it used quite many times in this particular context. It has to be this context. Yes. So if you are not sure, you should not use this sentence in other contexts, in other kind of sentences. Have to think before you use. I can swim in double man.
I think that's all for the paragraph 3. Will not mention the painting.
Painting. Drama.
Not that. But as you said, we should not leave anything completely.
Yes, you know, now you have to think about what have you included. For the language part, you included all of the numbers, 2 numbers. Is it 2 numbers here?
Actually, I included 6 numbers.
Yes, 6 numbers.
Because they're all just a double number, like 10, 20, 10, 5, 20, 40.
Yes. Okay, so in this case, I would find something to say about the painting classes. And there's a way, I think there are many ways to say this without you having, given the numbers. Now you have to look at your flow, right? Language. Similar to language. By contrast. Okay, now by contrast. You know, in the first place, I would move the idea of sculpture to the end, because I would describe the classes where the number of women were higher first. I would describe language, drama, and painting first. Then I talk about sculpture. Do you think that is easier to link the ideas?
So you say like similarly, the number of women were higher than that of men, and that's it. Without any mentioning of numbers.
Yes, the first thing I talk about the language, and then I also say similarly in drama, the number for drama is similar to the language. And then I talk about painting. Okay, let's see how we can put this sentence into the context. So here I would just say for painting, there were also more women than men. There were also more women than men in painting classes. And then I talk about sculpture.
So then this is like numbers.
Yes, both numbers.
Then I have
Uh,
like 4 sentences.
yes, about 4. Yeah, I think you can use exactly 4 sentences for these ideas.
Seems very clear. Now let's say paragraph 4, pie chart. Of course, I would
The
mention about the
age.
course 50 and over oldest, 32%.
Mm.
Is that I would match 16, 11, 5. In my mind, I would mention the youngest in the last sentence, 5%. But now I'm thinking, what should I add in the middle?
Okay, let's look at your oldest, youngest, right? Um, you say for one pie chart like this, there's actually not much information. That's the first thing we can see. And if we it's very easy. It's very easy to make the mistake of listing all of the numbers. It's very easy to describe all of the age brackets here. Don't you think? But the next time you see a single pie chart with numbers like this, we have to avoid the trap. They give the numbers. They want us to make the mistake of listing all of the numbers here. So
Yeah.
you only choose the largest and the smallest to talk about, like you did. And also in the middle part here, you say those two age bracket amount to, okay, or constitute, only constitute about, okay, 11 and we have 27, right? We have 27. So you can say those two part here constitute a share that is smaller. That is about half, right? Smaller than the largest share here. So that is the direction of our writing.
So what do I say? The other three groups make.
How do you want to deal with the number 26? Want to mention 26?
No, I'm thinking this way. The three other made up over 50%, over a half the pie. And then I group all three groups into one sentence. And I have kind of 3 sentences.
Yes. What I was trying to highlight was the technique of grouping, and you are doing it very well here. Oh, the 42%. The other three group let's see what can we, because in the essay we cannot just say the other three groups. Okay, so what age here?
Well, I put the youngest, the second, the oldest, youngest, and the other 2-3 groups made up to over half 10% or.
And I was suggesting that sometimes there's a way to there's a name that we can give to that group. For example, this is the instead of saying the other three groups, you say and the groups from 20 years old to 49 years old. So you have to describe the number, the age number here. because you cannot just say the other three groups. It's not very clear. Right? And we, moreover, we haven't mentioned, we haven't listed out the ages. So if we say the other three groups, people do not know what we are talking about. Yeah, and you know, this is now we have 20 years old to 49 years old. Well, we cannot say that they are in their they are in the middle of their life. We cannot say that, right? So, but in other graphs, you know, so sometimes there are groups. For example, the first, okay, maybe the yellow group here is from 40 to from 40 to 50, and then the another group is from 51 to 60. So if you were talking about those two groups, you could use the language, another language to describe them. You could say, and the people in the middle of their life, something like that. You use a general word to describe them, to be more creative.
What about the age under 20? Can I say teenagers?
Yes, under 20. Actually, teenager is from the under 20, from 18 to 20. We call them adolescents. There's a minor difference between teenager and adolescents. But it's okay. You can normally you can overgeneralize. There's something you can overgeneralize, and you can use adolescents. I think it's better to use adolescents.
I see. What about 50 and over? Can I say the elderly?
The elderly. You know, anyway, you have to give the number also, right? For example, you say the adolescents, right? So it's still not clear enough. You have to say the adolescents group under 20 years old. At least you have to give the numbers, because we have not. If you try to replace everything, then your data, your information is not clear, because you have not given all of the numbers.
So I cannot use the word youngest in the pie chart, the detail, right? Because it's not clear.
Yes, so you plan to use the word youngest without giving the numbers.
Yes. That's why I planned first, so I shouldn't do that.
Yes. Okay, so besides giving the number, then you can use whatever word that you feel that is suitable. Right? The youngest, the adolescents.
The elderly group of 50 and above feels boring. Very close, very similar structure.
The elderly group from 50 and above.
Elderly people age.
You know, if you use the elderly, actually you do not need people. The elderly itself is a noun. You want to avoid adding more unnecessary words.
Then I would say this one I will change to the bracket. To optimize the diversity of my language.
This one, this part here, the 22 to 49 bracket. Okay, yes, you can use the subject as a bracket. Do not worry about that. And okay, so let's look at the numbers. 42%, 5%. Yeah, make up over half of the pie. Okay, yeah, over half. Okay, now I think we're good to go.
Yes. Should I have this phrase beginning as regards the bar chart?
Yes, you can use that. There's nothing wrong with that. As regard the bar chart, it's important what you write next. As regard the bar chart. So you say was attended the most by both genders. So if you write by both genders, the figure for male attendees here should be higher than the other classes, but it's not. Right? We have more male in painting. Right? In the language course, only the women, only the number of women was the highest compared to the number of women in other classes.
What about I say in total?
As you got the bar chart, first of all, you have to say the language course, right?
Yes.
The language course was attended the most in total. The most in total. Again here, if you say in total, I think we have to add by both sexes. By both sexes. In total. You know, because if you say in total, it could be a one column for female only. Just to clarify. Okay, there's something wrong with the part here. And you know, as you read the sentence, you can see the phrase with the quantity of it kind of lengthen the sentence in an unnecessary way. So you just say, as regard the bar chart, the language course will stand it the most in total by both sexes, with 40 women compared to 20 men. If you want to use this structure, because now for this phrase it's quite difficult for you to add the word double. So when we try to, if you really want to use the word double here, you have to think about, you have to think clearly about the structure before you write. Right? Okay, if you want to fix this, you can use, okay, the language course will stand at the most in total by both sexes, with the number of females, and you put the number in bracket with the number of female 40, double that of their male counterpart, with double that of male. Then you put the number 20.
Is it similar to mine?
But we do not use words here. We use double. And actually we use doubling with the number of female, doubling that of male. With the quantity of women, 40, doubling that of men, 20. Remember, we cannot use the verb double here because it's not a full sentence. Okay, so the first one about the language course. Now we move on to the drama, the acting class, right? I think there's a very good cohesive device here. You like to use it, right? Similarly. Okay, similarly. Yeah. It's short, but it's very powerful. Similarly. What about the structure you have we have thought about here?
I'm thinking they were twice as much.
So actually we cannot use twice as much here because it's the number of people is a countable noun. So we have to use twice as many.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two models so you can follow. You can start a sentence with the structure there is, there are, and then you can start the sentence with the phrase twice as many. So let's think about that, right?
That's the most simple one that I can think of right now.
Yes, there were. Drama. Actually, you can replace the word drama class with acting class. Drama is the same as acting. It's a form of acting. Yeah.
How can I replace that?
Similarly, there was twice as many females. Then you have to add an S here, right? There were twice as many female studying acting. Yeah, because we should not use who here. It's too long. Do not use who. We use the reduced relative clause, studying.
How could you do that? In the cross out.
Okay, the strike through. The strike through. Okay. Can you see the word format here?
Yes.
Okay, and then you move your mouse to the word text. Then you see the options.
Shift 5. That's right.
Okay, as the regard about China language course standard the most in total of the processes. What the quantity of women, the bring that of men. Similarly, there were twice many females studying acting than male. 20 compared to 10. Right. Yes, let's move on to the painting class. Painting here. There were also more women than men. As regard, similarly, if we follow this approach, we have to accept the fact that it's quite odd to add the painting here without some repetition of language.
Yes.
For if the next time you write, like what if you encounter the same situation, right? Like you have to report a similar trend with the one before, but you have used the word similarly already. You have used the word similarly already.
I know the word likewise, but I'm not sure if it's likewise or not.
Likewise, actually likewise can be used here, because if you use likewise, the numbers do not have to be it does not have to be the same the double trend. You can use the word likewise, and there's a simpler term you can use also. For me, as I read the flow of the essay, I think I can add one sentence with the word also. Like I say, similarly, there were twice as many female student acting than male, 20 compared to 10. Okay, painting classes also saw painting classes also saw more women than men, and then period. There's nothing I want to talk more about this.
That's much better.
Yeah. And it must be a painting class or painting program. You can use the word program. Mm. And again, I can see that you often make mistakes with the use of the plural noun or the singular noun, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have to use if you say painting program, either you say the painting program or painting programs. Yes, by contrast, this one is quite easier to express.
I'm trying to say as few as. Seems like it's not really suitable to add as few as here. I want to just say nothing.
Mm. I thought you were going to use the by half. We thought a lot about this.
Being greedy to say as few as and that as well.
Okay, so sometimes if you are too greedy in writing IELTS, then your score may not be as high as you expected. Mm. You write so that it's easy to follow your idea. You don't have to write in a like too complex way. It's not our priority. By contrast, the number of men surpassed that of women by half. And now you forgot to mention the scripture class, right? Mm. By contrast, the number of men surpassed that of women by half in scripture classes, 10 as opposed to 5. Mm. Okay, let's look at the whole paragraph again. As regard the bar chart. Okay. For me, I would simplify the way I give the numbers here, but I suppose that's not any major mistake, because I would say, by contrast, the number of men, I give the number 10 here, surpass that of women by half. It's quite shorter in my opinion, but actually there's nothing wrong with what you write here. But in the future, like if you say that you have used the same way of giving numbers continuously too many times, yeah, actually, but now it's not the case, because your paragraph still has the natural flow. Yeah, but in the future, if you say that it's not natural anymore, you should simplify the way you give the number.
All right, I see.
I think I have included a lot of language to express to express the proportion of the pie chart.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it back at it again to remind me a little bit.
This one you move all the way down here to describe the fact that something. Wait, can you see the screen?
Wait. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Now.
To describe the fact that something is a part of the pie. Now you have to comprise. Here you can actually say the elderly comprised over half of the proportion, right? The total proportion. Except for beside comprise, you have constitute, and this word is very good. I always prioritize using constitute. I always remember this word first. And to total, you can say the elderly total 42% of the whole graph of the pie chart. But I would not use the word total because it's too simple, right? I use constitute and comprise. And then this is one word. And if you want to use phrasal verb, we have make up already. We have account for. We have be responsible for. Are you familiar with the use of the phrase responsible for? And normally the language here is used for proportion.
All right, I'll try to use as many.
I think you should just choose one. There's one sentence.
No, we're three.
Yeah, there's three sentences. We have cost to account for, responsible for.
Let's go with the simplest one. Elderly, age from 50 and above,
Constituted. We have the ed.
Something wrong.
42%.
Wait, I think I have spelling mistakes.
Constitute. Yeah. Oh, actually, it's the constituted.
Constituted 42%. Should I mention that it is the biggest part of the pie anymore or not?
It's actually it's quite okay. Now you can mention that. You can mention that here. No, because later in the next sentence you want to talk about the youngest. So now you have the contrast language, right? Here you have the biggest, the majority, and then you can say on the other hand, you can use the smallest to see the connection. Yeah. I think we should look at your first sentence. As for the pie chart, the elderly aged from 50 and above constituted 42%, being the majority of the pie. There's a Suddenly there's a disconnection between here in here. Now you say the elderly constitute 42%, being the majority of the pie.
Which is not being.
Yeah, I think we should use the word which. Right?
Yeah.
It's for the pie chart and the age one.
Subject. Different subject with the first part of the sentence.
Yeah, it's much better, which is the majority of the pie. Okay, wait. Again. I think I can find another problem. So you say it's for the pie chart, the elderly constituted 42%, which is the majority of the pie. You know, you see, this is the idea, right? But I don't think this is the most concise. But I don't think this is the most concise way to express it. And actually, if you want to use majority, next time you can think of it in this way. You can say constituted a majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Let's go by this way. We delete this one.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we like you know this, but in write when you write, you did not think about this, right? So we have to remember about the language. Only a minority of 5% was accounted for. You have to have the word for. Yeah, adolescent. And actually, when you talk about adolescent, it can be over 20, in their 20s. So you have to clarify this one here.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's for the pie chart, the elderly constitute a majority of 42%. On the other hand, only a minority of 5% was accounted for by the adolescent group. Yeah, very good. Now we need to move on. Finally. Bracket. Finally, the 20 to 49 bracket total over half of the pie. Okay. Let's look at the information to check if it's correct. Total over half of the pie. Okay, yeah.
It's around 51, I think. Around 53.
No, it's only, yeah, total half of the pie.
Right?
53? Yeah, yes. Over half of the pie. We do not care about the numbers.
Sure, yes.
Let's look at the essay again. And I was wondering about the word majority here. Logically, if you say these people total over half of the pie, so is it still a majority?
Yeah.
Right?
Because I group
Yeah. So we have to find some other way safer to express the 42%.
what is the word to say if I have to say constitute a part that created by one solely?
That is too long. But now we want to, yeah.
I mean, like, is there any way to express the meaning of like created by one only, such as
Yes.
the word soul, solely?
Yeah. We use the word alone. Not solely. And this is commonly used commonly. And like, yeah, if you I think if you know how to use the word alone here, it shows that you know how the native use their language. The elderly age from 50 and above alone constituted for and I was trying to suggesting one more thing here, because we're trying to express the idea that this 42% is a big deal, right? It is big, is it important? It is major. Yeah. Then I think we should have the adjective to add to the dominant. They are still the dominant group, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we should add the adjective besides the word alone. I was thinking about like the elderly age from 50 and above alone constituted a major part of 42%. Right? So that you can see, you can feel the emphasis on the major part. Mm. Okay, I think that we have corrected this very well. On the other hand, only 35% was 34 others. Yes. So now let's look at now what I think that you should read quickly. You should skim or go through the entire to see how it's going, right? How it is. Okay, and now I think that this essay is perfect in the length that it needs to achieve. I think that I guess this is about how many words can you guess here? 106, 80, yeah, maybe 60, 70, 80. Are you familiar with using Google Drive? I'm not sure.
Pretty much, I think 200 words.
Okay, 200 words. That's all right.
Yeah. 199 minus the word in. Yes. 199 words. Pretty long, huh?
I'm checking the content, and you think 199 word is quite long? I don't think. Yeah, yeah, I don't think so because for well for the task that gives you this much information. Yeah, so it depends on the information that you are given. You say there are some tasks that you are happy to achieve 150 because you don't know what to write about in that short period of time. I'm double checking all of the content here. Okay. Mm. There's a mistake regarding the grammar or the vocabulary. You see, although you need to pay more attention to the use of plural noun, the use of articles, the right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
It's funny because now I'm teaching grammar in the center now, and I always correct my student about that article. Me myself, I always make that same mistakes.
That's how our brain works when we write. Everyone makes that mistake. Don't worry. As long as you do not do that in the real exam, that's where we. Okay, but those are considered minor on only the slip in your writing. If you make that only one or maybe twice, but not 3 or 4 times. Okay, so let's call it a day here, and you can always practice more with the other tasks.
Yes. All right. See you tomorrow night. Same time.
Yes, yeah.
Bye.